Hitopadesha. Hitopadesha, Sanskrit, Topadesha, IAST, Hitopadesa, beneficial advice, is an Indian text in the Sanskrit language consisting of fables with both animal and human characters. It incorporates maxims, worldly wisdom, and advice on political affairs in simple, elegant language. To Stephen, the work has been widely translated. Maxim on learning. Learning to a man is a name superior to beauty. Learning is better than hidden treasure. Learning is a companion on a journey to a strange country. Learning is strength inexhaustible. Learning is the source of renown and the fountain of victory in the Senate. Learning is a superior sight. Learning is a livelihood. A man without learning is a beast of the field. Hitopadesa translator, Charles Wilkins 1. Little is known about its origin. The surviving text is believed to be from the 12th century, but was probably composed by Narayana between 800 and 950 CE. 3. The oldest manuscript found in Nepal has been dated to the 14th century, and its content and style has been traced to the ancient Sanskrit. Treatises called the Panchatantra from much earlier. 2. Steve 4. The authorship of the Hitopadesa has been contested. 19th century Indologists attributed the text to Vishnu Sharma, a narrator and character that often appears in its fables. Upon the discovery of the oldest known manuscript of the text in Nepal, dated to 1373, and the preparation of a critical edition, scholars generally accept the authority of its two concluding verses. These verses mention Narayana as the author and a king called Dhavala Chandra is the patron of the text. 2. Steve, but as no other work by this author is known, and since the ruler mentioned has not been traced in other sources, we know almost nothing of either of them. Dating the work is therefore problematic. There are quotations within it from 8th century works, and other internal evidence may point to an East Indian origin during the later Pala Empire 8th-12th century. 2. Narayana says that the purpose of creating the work is to encourage proficiency in Sanskrit expression, Sanskrit uktishu, and knowledge of wise behavior, Niti Vidyam. This is done through the telling of moral stories in which birds, beasts, and humans interact. Interest is maintained through the device of enclosed narratives in which a story is interrupted by an illustrative tale before resuming. The style is elaborate and there are frequent pithy verse interludes to illustrate the points made by the various speakers. 5. On account of these, which Nepalese manuscript of the Hitopadesha, c. 1800. The author and his sources compassion. As your life to you is dear, so is his to every creature. The good have compassion for all, by comparison and analogy with their own nature. Hitopadesa Book 1 to 20. Provide by far the greater part of the text, the work has been described as an anthology of sometimes contradictory verses from widespread sources relating to statecraft. 6. The Hitopadesha is quite similar to the ancient Sanskrit classic, the Panchatantra, another collection of fables with morals. Both have an identical frame story, although the Hitopadesha differs by having only 4 divisions to the ancient text's 5. According to Ludwig Steinbacher's critical edition of the text, the Panchatantra is the primary source of some 75% of the Hitopadesha's content, while a third of its verses can be traced to the Panchatantra. In his own introductory verses, Narayana acknowledges that he is indebted to the Panchatantra and another work. The latter is unknown but may possibly be the Dharmasastras or some other. 2. Xi XV. The Hitopadesha is organized into 4 books, with a preface section called Prastavika. The opening verse expresses reverence to the Hindu god Ganesha and goddess Saraswati. 7. There are several versions of the text available, though the versions are quite similar unlike other ancient and medieval era Hindu texts wherein the versions vary significantly. 2. XVI. The shortest version has 655 verses, while the longest has 749 verses. 2. XVI. In the version translated by Wilkins, the first book of Hitopadesha has 9 fables, the second and third each have 10, while the fourth has 13 fables. 8. Book 1 Mitralabh, How to Gain a Friend. The Book 1 is introduced with the statement that wise and sincere friends may be poor or destitute, but it is they who may help one achieve successes in life. The book recommends that the good find good friends. They are like a vessel in which one deposits both joys and sorrows of life, and it is not words that define a friend but their behavior and actions. 9 to 13 to 17. Contents Book 1 of Hitopadesha Fable Title 8 Topics. 1.1 The pigeons, the crow, the mouse, the tortoise and the deer. 1.2 The traveler and the tiger. 1.3 The deer, the jackal and the crow. 1.4 The blind jackal, the cat and the birds. 1.5 The history of Hiranyaka the mouse. 1.6 The old man and his young wife. 1.7 The huntsman, the deer, the boar, the serpent and the jackal. 1.8 The Raja's son and the merchant's wife. 1.9 The jackal and the elephant. Book 2 Third Bheda, How to Lose a Friend. The book 2 is introduced with the statement that great friendships can be destroyed by the cruel and envious beings who envy such friendship. The book states that misinformation creates wedge between friends, as does a focus on disagreements, rash action without due investigation and a lack of communication. 10 to 75 to 84 Book 2 of Hitopadesha Fable Title 8 Topics. 2.1 The Bull, the two jackals and the lion. 2.2 The ape and the wedge. 2.3 The thief, the ass and the dog. 2.4 The lion, the mouse and the cat. 2.5 The poor woman and the bell. 2.6 The adventures of Kanadar Piketu. 2.7 The farmer's wife and her 2 gallants. 2.8 The crow, the golden chain and the black serpent. 2.9 The lion and the rabbit. 2.10 The partridges and the sea. Book 3 Vigraha, War. The third book presents a series of fables wherein war is described as a consequence of greed, criticism of others, wicked people and their ideologies, cruel and ungrateful leader, lack of restraint, lack of preparation, poor fortifications, weak military, weak diplomacy, and poor counsel. 11th Book 3 of Hitopadesha Fable Title 8 Topics. 3.1 The geese and the peacocks. 3.2 The birds and the monkeys. 3.3 The ass dressed in a tiger's skin. 3.4 The elephants and the rabbits. 3.5 The goose and the crow. 3.6 The Vartaka and the crow. 3.7 The wheelwright and his wife. 3.8 The blue jackal. 3.9 The man who sacrificed his own son. 3.10 The barber who killed a beggar. Book 4 Sandhi, Peace. The fables in Book 4 state that it is always better to seek peace with 7 types of people: the truthful, the virtuous, the just, the strong, the victorious, those with many brothers, and the self-destructing worthless. 12 Peace can be achieved, states Hitopadesha, if one examines one's own behavior and one's own seeking as much as that of the opponent, pays attention to the counsel of one's good friends, treats the opponent with respect and understanding that is in tune with the opponent's character, forms one or more of 16 types of treaties, reciprocal assistance and cooperative ventures between the two sides, thereby enabling the pursuit of truth. 13 to 227 to 230 Book 4 of Hitopadesha Fable Title 8 Topics. 4.1 The geese and the peacocks, Part 2. 4.2 The tortoise and the 2 geese. 4.3 The 3 fishers. 4.4 The merchant and his artful wife. 4.5 The boobies and weasel. 4.6 The mouse and the hermit. 4.7 The booby and the crab. 4.8 The Brahman who broke the pots and pans. 4.9 The 2 giants. 4.10 The Brahman and his goat. 4.11 The camel, the crow, the tiger and the jackal. 4.12 The old serpent and the frogs. 4.13 The Brahman and his weasel. Closing. The text ends with the following. May peace forever yield happiness to all the victorious possessors of the earth, may just men forever be free from adversity, and the fame of those who do good long flourish, may prudence, like a glorious sun, shine continually on your breasts, last edited 3 months ago by Anomibot. May the earth, with all her vast possessions, long remain for your enjoyment. Hitopadesha, Translator, Charles Wilkins 14.